Let's continue now with our study of SQL. In the previous tutorials, we had concentrated mainly on the select command in SQL and all its variations, because that's the most complex and the most commonly used SQL command, but it was for information retrieval. In this tutorial, we will focus on the commands insert, update, and delete, and these three commands together allow you to alter the contents of an existing database in some manner. So as you might suspect, the insert command allows you to add one or more records to a table, and update command allows you to change the contents of an existing table, one or more records, and similarly the delete command allows you to remove completely one or more records from a table. Okay, so with that, let me show you the database that we will be using to show our example is exactly the same one that we have been using for the select command. So you have an example or a setting in which a company has several departments. Each department can have multiple projects. Departments have employees. One department has multiple employees, and employees are assigned to work on projects. So one employee can be assigned to multiple projects, and one project can have multiple employees assigned to it. So that's the setting in which we are working. So let's go back and start looking at the insert command over here. So first, of course, we look at the grammar. When you write an insert command, what does the sentence or what does the command look like? It has a grammatical structure. You must start the insert statement with the words insert into. Okay, that's how Access knows that you're trying to add a record into a table. And then you follow those two words, those are reserved words. Follow that by the name of the table into which you will add the record. In this case, it's the table project. So there's a database, so I'm going to try and add content to this table. And by the way, let me open the table so you can see what the table looks like. So you can see up to now we have up to project 1700. There are no more projects after project number 1700. So let's go back to the example. So after the name of the table into which we are trying to add the values, we actually write the word values and follow that by the actual values themselves. Okay, so we are trying to add a new project whose project ID is 2500. The name of the project is this. It is initiated by the finance department. The maximum number of hours allocated to the project is 277. It starts, or it has started, 1st of August 2019, and you can see the last column, the end date is null. Either we don't know when the project has ended or it has not ended yet. So just to map that to the table, so this table project has 6 columns, 6 attributes, and when we write the insert command, we had places for all 6 columns. Just that for the 6th column we didn't know the value. So I hope you're seeing the general grammar, the general structure of this statement. So I'm going to copy this over to Access and we'll try and run it. See, here we go. So I go to query and I paste the command, and as you know from all our examples for the select command, I have to fix the quotes. So I'm just retyping the quotes, that's all. So here we go. So I'm going to try and run it now. So Access comes back and says, hey, you're about to add one row to your table, the project table. I just say yes. It's kind of warning you that this is, you can still abort your operation now, but you're about to add a record. So I say yes, and then I go back to the project table. It seems like the record has not been added, but that is simply because this table has been reproduced from main memory. I just have to close this project and open it again, and the new record will be pulled out from secondary memory. Okay, so let me close this table, and if I open the project table again, do you see that project 22500 has been added? Okay, so 277 maximum hours. It started on 1st of August 2019. So it corresponds to the insert statement that we have just executed. So this is the most basic form of the insert command, but there are some variations that you might want to keep in mind. So suppose I know the values for not all the 6 columns, but only 6 columns for that record. So let's say I want to add a new project, but all I know about the project is the project ID, the name of the project, and the department that's initiating the project. I don't know anything else about it. I don't know its start date, I don't know its end date, and so forth. Okay, so then how do I handle this? So here, notice the syntax is slightly different, not a whole lot different. You start off the same way, insert into, and then you give the name of the table into which you're doing the insertion. But now, since you're only going to provide values for a few columns, not all of them, you list the names of the columns for which you're providing values. So you say, I'm going to give you values for project ID, project name, and department. And then you say the word values, and you follow that by the values themselves. Okay, so we are going to now, I'm going to copy this command over and execute it. When I'm done executing, you will find the project number 2600 added to the project table, but it will have null values. It will have no values for the last 3 columns because we didn't provide those values. So let me copy this over. Copy. Let me go over to query. I'll delete this command from the last go around and let me copy this. I have to fix the quotation marks, unfortunately. The quotation marks is fixed, I think. Okay, so I'm going to run this query now. Again, it says you're about to add a row, so I just say yes, I confirm. And once again, when I look at the project, it seems like project 2600 has not been added, but that's not the case. I simply close this image of the project and I open it again. So then the information gets pulled back from secondary storage. So here you have project 2600 added, and notice that the last 3 columns have no values because we didn't provide any numbers. Now, curiously, I think I told you in class that a 0 is not the same as a null value. Okay, how come this particular column max hours, if you go back here, we didn't provide any values for max hours, right? We only had values for project ID, project name, department, and yet Access went ahead and put a 0 for max hours. 0 is not the same as null. So why 0? So now if you go to the design of this particular table, go to design view, and you look at max hours here, do you see that it has been given a default value of 0? Meaning when we designed this table, again, it needn't have been set up this way, but that's how it has been set up. We have told Access that if I don't give you a value for max hours, insert the value 0 for it. That's why it came back with the value. It inserted the value 0 in there. Okay, so I hope you're seeing how one inserts a record when you only have partial values. One of the nice things about actually giving the names of the columns is that you can mix up the order. So look at this next example here. Here also we are going to add a new project to the project table. The project is 2700, and once again I will provide 3 values, namely the ID of the project, the name of the project, and the department. But notice that I have jumbled up the order of the 3 columns. Okay, so I'm telling Access I will give you the values for these 3 columns. It doesn't matter in which order I write them, as long as when I actually go to write the values, I write them in the consistent order. So if I wrote department first as the name of the column, then I should provide the name of the department. Project name should match with project name. The project ID number should match with the project ID. So the order should match the order in which I wrote them. So when Access sees this, it knows that the value of department is finance, the value of project name is loan acquisition, the value of project ID is 2700. Access will pick up this information and put it in the right place in the table. Okay, so I'm going to now copy this command over to let's see, go over to query. Okay, paste, and again, once again, let me fix the quotation marks. Okay, let me run this. I click on design to get the run symbol back. So again, it says you are about to add a row. I say yes. I look at project. It seems like project 2700 has not been added, but you know by now how I can pull that back. I just close, I open project again, and there you are. There's 2700. Now notice that even though I gave the values in a jumbled up order, because Microsoft Access could make the match, that finance is the value for department, loan acquisition is the value for project name, 2700 is the value for project ID, it can go back, and when it actually puts it into the table, it puts it in the right places. Okay. All right. The last variation I'll show you is we are going to put in the project 2900. Again, it's a new project. So here also I know only the values for 3 of the columns. I know the values for project ID, the name of the project, and the department that's initiating the project. I don't have values for the remaining 3 columns. Okay. But notice what I've done here. I've not listed the names of the columns. I haven't typed those. I simply provide all the values for all 6 columns, except that I write null for the last 3 because I don't know the values for the last 3 columns. So this is very similar to the first example. It's just that I don't know the values for the last 3 columns. Okay. Anytime I don't know a value, either I leave it out or I have to say, use the reserved word null. So let me copy this particular command over. Let me delete this command, paste, and again I have to fix the quotation marks. Notice there are no quotation marks around null. Null is a reserved word. It has a very special meaning. Access knows what it means, so I don't need to put quotes around it. And I can't use the word null for anything other than its reserved role in the system. Okay. So for instance, I couldn't create a table whose name is null. So let me run this insert command. Again, it says you're about to append a row. So I say yes. And once again, it seems like 2900 has not been added. But I will close this table. I open it again, and there you are. There you have project 99. Now notice a nice difference over here. Since I actually specified the value null, it overrides the default. The default was 0, notice. Okay, so it didn't put in the value 0 for max hours because I specifically told the system that the value for max hours is null. So these are fine distinctions that you will get used to as you use the package a little bit more. But I hope you have seen by now how the insert command works. Now if you were doing insert using, let's say, SQL Server, then instead of adding one row at a time, you could add multiple rows at one time. But with Microsoft Access, when you do a direct insert like this with actually typing in the values, you can only add one record at a time. Okay. All right. Let's move on now to the next command that we will see, and that's the update command. As I mentioned a little while ago, that the update command is used to alter the content of an existing database. Okay, so let's take again first look at the grammar. How do we tell Access that we want to update? So the grammar is the structure of the statement. You start with the word update. That's how Access gets a signal that you want to change the content of one or more rows. So unlike the insert command where you are inserting one record at a time, here you can update multiple records at the same time, and I'll gradually show you how that's done. For this first example, we would only update for one record where the project ID is 2500. So you write the word update, which is a reserved word. You follow that by the name of the table in which you want to make the change. In this case, it's the project table. And then you follow that by the word set. After the word set, you write whatever change it is you want to make, whatever update that you want to make. So the update would actually come here. Okay, so or after the word set. So in this case, I want to set the maximum hours for a particular row to be 500. And for which project do I do this? You see that last clause where it says where. I think you're familiar with the where clause from the select statement that we have done in all the previous tutorials. So we're saying where project ID is equal to 2500. So if you just read this like an English sentence, what I'm telling Access is go to the table project. First, pull out the row for which project ID is equal to 2500. Since project ID is a primary key, I know that there will be exactly one row that meets this condition. And for that project, change the maximum hours to 500. So let's go back and see. So you can see for project 2500, currently the maximum hours is 277 hours. So once I execute this SQL command, that value should change to 500. So let's go back and I will copy this command over. Sorry. Copy. And I move over here to query 1. I paste the query. There are no quote marks. There are no strings. Okay, so let me hit design to get the run symbol back. Okay, so again it's warning you. It says you are about to update one row. Since there's only one project whose project ID is 2500, it's telling you that you're about to make changes to one row, which is what I really want to do. So I just say yes. Okay, and then I go back to project. So you can see over here that the project hours has been changed to 500. You see, it went from 277 to 500. But here, for this example, this one that we just saw, we changed the contents, or we updated one row. Okay, let's see a different example where we want to change the content of multiple rows at the same time. So look at this particular update command. Okay, so if you read through like as if it were an English sentence, we are telling Access, go to the table called project. So update project, pick out all the rows where department equals production, and for each of those rows set. So remember, whatever you write after set is the actual update that you want to do. And I'm telling Access, increase max hours by 177 hours. Okay, for wherever department equals production. So let's see where things look like. So here is how many rows we have. Production here, we have two departments. Production here, here's one of them, here's the other one. Okay, so there are two projects that the production department has initiated. One of them is 100 hour, has been allocated 100 hours. The other one has been allocated 300 hours. Okay, so both of those, by this one statement, both of those projects should have their hours increased by 177 hours each. Okay, which means that this number should change to 277 and this one should change to 477 once we are done with the update. So you can see multiple rows are being changed simultaneously. Okay, so let me copy this command over. Copy. Where are we here? Okay, go back to query. I paste this, and as you know, I have to fix the quotation marks. All right, so it should come back and say you are about to update two records right now. Okay, so let's see if it actually does that. Do you see you're about to update two rows? Because we have the example that we saw, there were two rows where the department was production, and it's coming and back and telling you, hey, you're about to change to two of those rows. Okay, all right, so I say yes. Let's go back to project, and do you see that the hours has changed to 277 and 477 for those two production departments? But those two rows, multiple rows, were changed simultaneously because of the nature of the update command. All right. So here's another example. So this multiple row update can arise in different ways. I just showed you one because there were two departments, rather there were two projects from the production department, so both of those got changed by 177 hours. Here's a third example. Again, if you read it like as English statement, you're saying go to the assignment table, and wherever you see employee number 6, 8 or 1, so as long as the employee number is in this set 6, 8, 1, change the hours worked to 55. So before we run this, let's actually go to the assignment table and see what it looks like. So let me close this table down. So close. I will open the assignment table. So looking at the query, it says as long as the employee number is 6, 8 or 1, change the hours to 55. So let's take a look at the few of the values. See, here's employee number 1. The hour is 33. 6 is 33. Okay, so 6, 8 or 1. So let me insert, since they're already 33, let me change that value to, let's say, 99. So we'll know it has actually changed. All right, so we will change wherever there's an employee 6, 8 or 1, and there are many of them. So because employee number 1 works for multiple projects, employee number 1 works on project 1000, works on project 1100, works on project 1400. Okay, so wherever we see employee number of 1, 6 or 8, we should change hours worked to 99. So when I execute this one update statement, what should happen is multiple rows in this. You'll see a lot of 55s on the right hand side once the update goes through, right? I'm sorry, you'll see a lot of 99s, excuse me. It says hours worked equal to 99, and I picked that number 99 just so that you can visually run through. Currently there is not a single value 99 on the right hand side. Once the update finishes, you will see a lot of these records change to 99 wherever the employee number is 1, 6 or 8. Okay, so let me copy this command over. Okay, so I need to delete this update statement. I paste. All right, so I run this. It'll tell you you're about to update several records. I don't know how many there are that would meet this condition. So let me run this. So you see you're about to update 16 rows. So there are 16 rows where the employee number is 1, 6 or 8. So when I'm done, you should see 16 99s in the last column. So I'd say yes. And I go back to assignment, and now do you see this, all these 99s, wherever there is a 1, 6 or 8 for the employee number, the hours work got changed to 99. Here's one of them, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one, here's another one, and so forth. Okay, so you saw in one command multiple records got changed at the same time. So the create command allows you to add more than one record really at a time in a table, but in Microsoft Access you can only add one record at a time. The update command allows you to rather change the contents of one or more records at the same time. So the last command that I'm going to show you in this tutorial is the delete command, and I don't want to get rid of all the contents from this table because I need it for other things. So I'll just show you one example. First, see the grammar of the delete command. So you start off with the word delete and you follow that by from. You say delete from, and then after that you tell Access the table from which you're doing the deletion. After that you write the word where, the reserved word where, and after the word where you write a condition. Okay, so the way it works is Access will go through the project table. So whichever project you specify, it goes from start to finish, first record to last record. Anytime a record meets whatever condition you have specified here, after the where clause, whatever condition you have specified, if it meets that condition, if that condition evaluates to true, it just deletes that record. Okay, so Let me go back and show you what the project table looks like now. So here's, I close this. So do you see you have project 2900 at the end? And it's the last project that was added. So here we are. So when I run this command, what should happen is that entire row should be removed. That entire project 2900 should be removed. So let me copy this over. Okay, here's query 1. So paste, and I click on design to get the run symbol back, and I run it. It says you're about to delete one record from the table, okay, which is what I want to do. So I say yes, and let's go back to project, and you see it says one record has been deleted. Okay, so if I close the project and open it again, then 2900 is gone. All right, so I hope you saw how the delete command works, and depending on what this condition looks like, so suppose I said delete from assignment where employee number equals 1. So if I go back to the assignment table, if I say delete from assignment where employee number equal to 1, then all the rows where employee number equal to 1, so here, 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 all 4 rows will be deleted through that one command. All right, so taken together, these 3 commands that we saw, let me scroll back to the right. These 3 commands, insert, update, and delete, these 3 commands together allow you to change the contents of a relational database.